When God asks Moses to go and free his people, the way he does it is he calls Moses by a burning bush, calls him up to a mountainside. And then this happens. Exodus 3. Moses said to God, okay, suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, what is his name? Then what shall I tell them? Moses is insecure. He's afraid. He doesn't want to go. And he says, God, you're sending me to free your people, but what if they ask me your name? Who do I tell them sent me? And then God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent you. I am. From this moment on, for the Jewish people, the words I am emphatically represented the divine name of God. This is why Matthew places this story of Jesus walking on the water in the middle of his story. If you look at your Bibles, you will find that the Gospel of Matthew has 28 chapters, yes? Where is this story? It's in the middle of chapter 14. In fact, if you read the Gospel of Matthew in the original language, in the Greek, within less than 100 words, amongst tens of thousands of words, less than 100 words separates the literal exact middle of Matthew's Gospel from these two Greek words, ego, eimi. I am. Most scholars believe that Matthew places those two words, I am, right in the middle of his story to shine with big, bright, blinking lights the explanation and revelation and revealing of who Jesus actually is. That in the midst of all of the storms and anxieties, uncertainties, and fears of our life, in the midst of the storms and the waves that buffet against the boat of your human experience, Jesus walks on the water and he declares definitively, he's not just a significant historical figure, he's not just a good moral teacher. Jesus is the great I am. God himself. What does this mean? What does this mean for us? It means that when you look out on the ocean of your life, all the impossibility, all the anxiety, all that is uncertain before you, Jesus does not swim in that ocean, he walks above that ocean. And he declares to you and to me, take courage, I am. Don't be afraid. But what happens in the story? Doubt continues to creep in for the disciples. In fact, 11 of the disciples make the decision that they're not sure that that's really Jesus. They find it safer inside the boat than out on the water with Jesus. And then there's one man. His name is Peter. And he says this, Lord, if it's you, Peter replied, tell me to come to you on the water. And Jesus says, come. Then Peter got down out of the boat and he walked on the water and he came toward Jesus. But when he, Peter, saw the wind, he was afraid and beginning to sink, cried out, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? When they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. And then those who were in the boat worshiped him, saying, truly, you are the Son of God. Peter says to Jesus, Lord, if it's you, tell me to come to you on the water. Which is weird, right? Because if it was like a villain, what do you think he's going to tell you? He's going to be like, yeah, it's me, Jesus, just come. Peter's so naively trusting. If it's you, tell me to come out there into the danger, right? It's so strange. But it is Jesus. Jesus says, come. And so Peter, for a moment, steps out of the boat, puts his feet down on the water, and finds that he is okay. And then it says that Peter's gaze leaves Jesus and he sees the wind. And he begins to sink. Why did Peter doubt? I mean, despite all that he had seen Jesus do, literally just hours earlier, feeding thousands miraculously, healing, not just today, but many times over the course of their life together. Why did Peter doubt? Why do we doubt? Despite all that we have seen Jesus do in this church and in our own lives, despite all that we have seen Jesus do in the lives of those around us, despite all that we have seen Jesus do through his church, throughout history, why is it that we still doubt like Peter doubted? Why? Because we see the wind. Because rather than keeping our gaze fixed on Christ, we begin to look at the dangerous circumstances surrounding us. We begin to see the impossible seas before us, the dangerous, treacherous oceans that we feel like we will never be able to cross. We doubt because we have experienced the storms of life and they have left us tired and weary and exhausted. But I want you to notice in the story, Jesus does not reprimand Peter for his doubt and then saves him. What does the story say? Peter begins to sink, and then in verse 31, immediately Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. And then Jesus says, "You of little faith, why did you doubt?" When Peter doubts, Jesus rescues him first before addressing the doubt. Your doubt does not keep Jesus from rescuing you. Your fear, your anxiety, your pain, your grief, those things and so much more, they do not keep Jesus from rescuing you. Jesus doesn't rescue you after doubt. Jesus rescues you in and in the midst of your doubt. Jesus does not rescue us after the fear and after the anxiety. Jesus reaches out his hand and he pulls us up from the fear, from the anxiety, from the uncertainty. Listen, maybe you're doubting today. Maybe life is hard. Maybe that diagnosis was not the one you expected nor the one you wanted. Maybe that relationship didn't work out the way that you thought it would. Maybe financial situations or family situations or deep, dark inner turmoils that no one else knows about is just eating away at you and you find yourself doubting. Maybe you feel hopeless and lost and faithless. Your rescue is not dependent upon the strength nor the fragility of your faith. Your rescue is dependent on the strength of he who rescues you. Tim Keller puts it this way: it is not the strength of your faith, but the object of your faith that actually saves you. The what in front of you does not dictate whether or not you will be rescued. It is the who that really matters. The late, great Eugene Peterson puts it this way. He describes the dance between faith and doubt as a trapeze artist who lets go of one bar and hangs in midair, waiting to grab hold of the next bar. That's doubt and faith. And Peterson says that it is a moment of expectation, uncertainty, and extraordinary aliveness. Doubt does not kill you. It actually has the power to bring you to life if you would reach out your hand and allow Jesus to lift you up.